Good day, guys. This is a special Tuesday because it's the first Tuesday that you are out of your home in a long time. It's a phase 2 of CB, and I'm so stoked and so happy to be meeting my friends. I hope you are doing well. I hope things get more settled down, and I want us to continue to make progress towards a life we love. And one thing that I feel we need to move towards a life we love is we need to recognize some certain mindsets that we have in our head. Whether you call them mindsets, you call them scripts, you call them narrative, they are all implanted in your head through all sorts of medium. Your parents, the media, society, and all sorts of stuff. They all guide us in our decisions to do a lot of different things. And today I'm going to spend some time to share with you 3 mindsets that I hold close on my personal finance journey. So good morning, everyone. I welcome you to another day with the Financial Coconut. In our podcast, we'll be debunking financial myths, discovering best financial practices, and discussing financial strategies that fits our unique life. You get it! Ultimately empowering us to create a life we love while managing our finances well. And today's topic, 3 mindsets that I hold close on my personal finance journey. So during this CB period, or whether it's your RMO in Malaysia, essentially during the lock-in phase where you are stuck at home, many people are creating content. So that's interesting. We are seeing more and more voices on the internet, more and more viewpoints being paddled all around in the personal finance space and beyond. So like it or not, everyone has their own viewpoints and they have a different way of life and different mindsets. Essentially, all these mindsets, scripts, narratives, whatever you call them, influence our decisions on a subconscious level. You're not always thinking about, what is my mindset? What kind of mindset do I hold? But all these things that are in your head, within your system, they influence your decisions. And one thing that I've observed that is very deeply ingrained in a lot of our mindsets is the idea of save, right? You should save. You should have savings, and savings is important. So, all the way from like the POSB Squirrel, right? The Smart Saver program or Young Savers program since you are a kid, where you can kind of put your coins into the machine. I think that was like maybe in the 80s, 90s, a bit more popular. I'm not sure if they still have those. And all the way to your parents giving you a piggy bank and encouraging you to save, little things that are actionable, but also impressionable, right? The media tells you saving is good. Your parents encourage you to form saving habits. And even the banks create systems to encourage you to save. So like it or not, it has been inbuilt into our system since young that saving is good because everyone say that saving is good. You should save, you should save, you should save, right? Imagine the banks since young tell you should invest, right? Investing is good. Or you should learn how to spend. Spending is important, right? And that will form a very different narrative. So I do encourage parents out there to talk to your kids in a more varied manner. It's not all about savings. You need to teach them how to spend, right? Understanding the value of the things that they buy, recognizing the relativity of price and all these kind of stuff where we will touch on in later topics. Okay, I'm getting there. I've read a whole book called Predictably Irrational, and I love that book. It talks a lot about spending. I know in the Telegram group, I've already shared with some of you guys. I'm going to kind of distill all the information and share with you some points as to why we spend in a certain way. That's for a later episode. But back to the idea of savings, right? Many people have this ingrained idea, but they don't actually know why they need to save, or they don't objectively recognize the value of savings. They are just governed by a certain mindset that is given to them since young, right? So I have touched extensively on how much to save, what is the function of savings, and all those kind of stuff. What are some of the better saving strategies objectively in the earlier episodes. Definitely check those out, and I'm sure if you have been a constant listener, you hear me talk about this quite a lot. So when you are fed these kind of mindsets, they govern our actions. right? Over time, once you ingrain these mindsets that saving is good, saving is important, you keep saving and saving and saving. Sometimes you don't know why, you take it too far. So that is the same for many other different things, right? Whether it's investing, why you only invest in bonds, right? Or you don't buy, you're not in the stock market because every day you hear people, stock market very bad, we'll go bankrupt, right? And I lose a lot of money, la 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 la. So a lot of these kind of things, they get framed into your head, they become ingrained mindsets. And I'm sure over the course of this podcast, we've addressed a lot of these kind of mindsets and kind of revisit certain topics in a different angle. So I'd hope that helps. But today, I specifically want to share with you some of the mindsets that help me to learn. I think that is way more important, which is why I hold them very close on this journey. But we all grew up in different environments, different household, and we have different mindsets. And I'm not saying that my mindsets are better than yours. I'm just sharing with you some that I find valuable. And also in this process, I hope to encourage you to revisit a lot of these kind of mental scripts and mental mindsets that you have in your head that governs you in the way you spend, the way you invest, the way you save, the way you treat relationships, the way you treat income, and all those different things. So the very first mindset that I feel is important is there is no best strategy without context. Allow me to fill you in with some context. Why do I put this as the very first mindset that I hold close to myself? That is because I feel in all these forums and all these Facebook groups out there, which I am relatively active. Sometimes I look at it, sometimes I do my posts, and that's probably why you found me in the first place. So cool stuff. But everyone is trying to tell you their strategy, and everyone is trying to say that they have the best strategy. Okay, maybe not everyone, but I see a lot of that. This is a better strategy. Don't buy unit trusts, use robo-advisors, pick your own stocks, learn to save in this way, use that credit card. Everyone is trying to tell you a certain strategy, and they are all trying to influence your thoughts, right? But many of them do not address the context in which this strategy is the best. Let's say we talk about picking stocks, right? I know a lot of people recently have been asking me about picking stocks, or what stocks do I pick, what is my strategy, and I've shared with you some stuff, right? Some of you are not interested, but some people are super interested in picking stocks. However it is, pick your own strategy. But when people ask me about picking stocks, I will kind of divert their attention more towards building their income, having their savings sorted, and explore index funds. Because from what I understand, most people are not willing to put in that kind of work. And even if they think they are, the actuality is just too much work for most people, right? You just want to make a fair income, you want to make a fair return, then index funds is a fair return. Right? It is not like revolutionary and all crazy, but it is okay because given the context of your life, someone as in holding a stable income, exploring your life in your early stages, and you don't want to put in a lot of work, but you want to make decent income. Okay, index funds, I think that's okay. You buy the broad market, you get everything that is packaged together in the market, and you kind of perform aligned with the market. Not too bad. The downside is you will never be able to outperform the market because you are essentially buying the market, right? You are buying the whole stock market. And if the stock market goes up by 10%, you will never be able to beat it because that is the best, you bought the whole market, right? And the downside is when the stock markets go down by 10%, you go down by 10% also. You'll not be able to hedge against it because if you only use index funds, that is where it is, right? So the context is very important in whatever strategy that we use. So I always want to see what is the pros, what is the cons, that means what's the upside of this strategy, what is the downside of this strategy, right? And when people recommend me, I definitely ask them to elaborate. Have you tried before? Or you also hearsay, right? It's okay when people hearsay, just don't listen to them because they don't understand, they don't have the context as to why they do what they do, right? And of course, definitely look at, is this strategy suitable for me? All right, let me give you a short story, right? Something in the fitness space. So a lot of people, they sign up for gyms, right? And I used to sign up for the gym also because as I grow older, I become lazier and I become less active. For whatever reason, I gave up on my physical health. So then I decided that I will sign up for the gym, right? Because some of my friends are at the gym. Right, and I decided that, okay, not bad lah. You sign up, she sign up. Okay, let's all sign up and we'll work out together. That's good. And I thought for a period of time that the gym was helping me become healthier, which it is. But when I look at it in a deeper level, it is not the gym, but it is the company that helped me become fitter, because some of my friends at the gym, we go together, we do it together, right? So the benefit that I actually get is from the collective support. After a few of them shift to another gym or, quit the gym thing, I essentially dwindled down. I still have to pay the membership, but I stopped using it, right? So for some people, going to the gym, it's good because they have all this equipment, they have this space for you to do all your things. But when I look at it, what works for me better is a collective thing, right? It does not need to be in the gym. It can be going out to do a water sport together. It can be going to, do yoga together, because yoga you got to do with a bunch of people, right? Okay, maybe not always, but I recognize that it is not about the activity and it's not about the facility, but it's about the people that I do it together. I need that kind of group support and group activity that will help me to, keep going and stay fit and, make it fun and as a workout. All right, so that's the idea. There is no best strategy without context. You need to understand yourself, understand the context, and recognize whether the strategy works for you. Which brings me to my second mindset, is that I always make the best decision to my best knowledge at any point in time. I do not shortchange myself. Yes, very long mindset, right? No worries, I will break it down for you after a word from our sponsor. Good day, guys. I get it. Many of us want to learn how to invest. Secretly, we may even believe we can do better than the financial planner. But probably the real issue is the distrust we have with financial professionals. We're not sure about their biases or their intentions. How about trying out a robot? No feelings there. Getting the job done in a relatively objective way. Try out Stashaway today, one of the leading robo-advisors in Singapore and Malaysia. Check it out at thefinancialcoconut.com/stashaway to get 50% off your fees for 6 months. Get started on your investment journey in a simple, fuss-free manner. Link is in the description below. I hear this a lot out there when people say things like, I should have done this, I could have gone to school, if I knew, I would have gone here, do that, buy this. I'm like, brother, if you knew, man, you knew. The reality is you didn't know at that point in time, and it is okay. And I'm sure we all have different episodes of our life where we regret. Like for me, it's definitely during my scam days, right? I accidentally got into a scam, and sadly, I did pretty well in the scam. That means I scammed quite some people at a point in time, and I shall not name names because I don't want to get into any lawsuit, but turns out that it is not very cool, essentially. I hurt a lot of friends, I lost a lot of friends, and honestly, if I knew better, I would not have done it. All right, like it or not, I didn't know better. At the point in time, I made the best decision that I could. I made the best decision that I would. And for a very long time, I kept looking back and judged myself. It wasn't healthy, right? Because when I keep judging myself, I go into this spiral. I spiral into the abyss. I keep blaming myself, and I lose my friends, and I isolate myself. I lose more friends. It's like it's worse and worse, right? And then you get so isolated that I honestly think I went into quite a depressive episode, right? If for all of you who knew me at the point in time, I will probably not be as bubbly as I am today. Of course, I have come a long way from there, and that's also why you're hearing a lot of these content and a lot of these thoughts about different aspects of personal finance, because I dare say I went through quite a bit to be able to give you real contextual thoughts rather than rehash from Google. So I think feeling a bit emotional talking about that, and also the aircraft outside a bit disturbing, but anyway, so when I look at it, why I think you should recognize that you're always making the best decision to the best of your knowledge at that point in time is that you can avoid self-bashing, right? And spiraling into the abyss like I did, right? Which I'm sure some of you would have gone through something like that, whether is it from making a bad investment decision or, spending all your savings on your girlfriend, or or being cheated by a guy, or all sorts of stuff, right? And I'm sure at that point in time, right after that, it feels like shit, right? And you feel that you have shortchanged yourself. But the reality is you didn't, because that was at best you can go. And it is important to recognize that. Because given absolute information, that means if you knew what is going to happen, you knew everything, and you're not, you have objective view, which is also not that easy to get. But if so happen that you have absolute information, you will very, very, very likely make the best objective decision. But given the limited information that you have, you only make the best relative decision, because at that point in time, this is all you knew, you made it, and that's it. That's where it is. So when I look at it, I think a lot of us make a lot of mistakes coming up and growing up, and it is definitely challenging, right? Going forward, you will face more challenges like your jobs, your life, your relationships, your finances. There'll be more and more challenges. I'm sure maybe when you were younger, you racked up a lot of student debt, you racked up a lot of credit card bills, and you're paying down your credit card like crazy, but it's eating into your month to month. It happens, and at that point in time, that was all you could do. So recognize that you don't actually shortchange yourself, right? You make the best of what you have, right? And that is basic human belief, right? Basic human survival instinct. Of course, different contexts makes things a bit more challenging, but generally, I think most of us make the best decision that we have given what we know, and we don't shortchange ourselves. So on that basis, moving forward, I do encourage you to choose the people you hang out with, and the content that you absorb. To me, that is extremely important, because some people say you are who you hang out, and you are what you absorb, and you're what you listen to. Essentially, you learn from your surrounding, and which is why sometimes when you see a bunch of people, right, they have a certain vibe, but they all feel the same one, right? When you go to the club, and then there's this bunch of people, they all like YP, all the young punks, and they all have a certain vibe. And when you go with, let's say certain insurance agents, right, they all have a certain vibe, or property agents, they all have a certain vibe, or bankers, they all have a certain vibe. Of course, they have nuances. I'm not saying that they're all the same, but there is a general vibe. And when I look at it, right, if you want to moving forward, if you want to make better decisions for yourself, and you're in this process of learning and trying to understand what fits you, the very first thing that you can definitely ask yourself is, who do I want to be like? Right? Choose the people you want to hang out with, and based on who do you want to be. And then work your way there. And over time, you learn to ultimately shape a life you love. So that is mindset number 2, and I hope that you will own up to your past mistakes and don't bash yourself so much. Recognize that we do our best, right? And I want to introduce you to point number 3, which is, I am ever changing, therefore my strategy is always evolving. Having that growth mindset. So I think a lot of times we learn something when we were like 20, like a strategy that we used when we were 20s, and then we're like, oh, this is a great strategy, man, da 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 da. And then as we go to somewhere in our late 20s or 30s, then we realize that, okay, maybe I don't want to spend so much, or maybe I want to kind of consider buying a house, or maybe I don't want so much volatility in the market. For whatever it is, we change because our habits change, our priorities change, and our lifestyle changes. So as we go along, we want to adjust our strategy. We want to adjust the way we manage our finances. We want to adjust the way we do things, right? Broadly speaking. So I think this is something that we need to recognize, right? When we were younger, we do something in a certain way, and what is done back then is back then. Now it's now, right? Given the current context, there's a different way to do things because we want to optimize to the way of life that we are now. Which is why I think one thing that is very interesting out there is how a lot of agents, they always plan for you, and they make you envision your life into the future, right? They help you envision your life into the future, and a lot of them make retirement sound very, very expensive. And make retirement sound like you need a lot, which is not wrong. Maybe on the health side, right? You get more sick, you higher propensity to go to the hospital, bills are gonna get higher. I think that is definitely true because as we age. But objectively, when you think about it, you look at your grandmother, you look at your grandfather, right? Do they really travel that much? Do they still like rave and party and go on cruise and do all those kind of a lot of things? Once in a while they do. Do they really eat that much? I think if you ask them every day go Hai Di Lao, they be tahan one, right? It's too rich, already too exciting for them. So your consumption actually decreases over time, right? And I think it's more like a normal distribution. When you're young, you take in so much. Your peak will probably be like 40, 50. You spend the most, eat the most, drink the most, go out with friend the most, the highest and craziest time. And then as you age, it becomes lesser and lesser. You need lesser. I honestly, when I live with my godmother or when I live with my parents, I start to see them eating less and less. And when I look at it, it's like, oh, okay, that's probably the trend. So when you plan your finances or when you look at the way of life that you want to live, you got to recognize that every time when you move forward, things are different. So when things are different, we do it differently. We change our strategy. Have the kind of growth mindset, have the kind of room to tweak and re-strategize. There is no one size fit all, and as we go along, we change. That's pretty much it. So once again, there are a lot of mindsets out there. There are a lot of, different habits that I feel are good as a derivative of the mindsets, and there's no one size fit all. But I hope these few mindsets that I share with you will help you in shaping the way you learn, the way you think as you go along on your personal finance journey and beyond, right? I think a lot of these mindsets, they guide me beyond just the finance space, all right? But like it or not, because we are a personal finance podcast and you're here to learn about personal finance, so I contextualize a lot of these things. But if you think about it, you can actually apply some of these mindsets into other aspects of life. And I'm going to sum it up today that the 3 mindsets that I hold close on my personal finance journey. Number 1 is there is no best strategy without a context. Everyone will tell you all sorts of things, but you need to recognize what works for you and the pros and cons in different strategy. Number 2 is I always make the best decision to the knowledge at the point in time. I will not shortchange myself. It's very important in the anchor that you always make the best for yourself, and if shit happens, we learn, we pick it up, and we move on. And number 3 is I am ever changing, therefore my strategy is always evolving. Essentially having that growth mindset and allowing you to keep updated and shake off some of those old systems that you have in your system and essentially keep up with the way of life. Also use that as objective view to plan into the future, right? Don't always just look at now. Now is important, but use this mindset to see into the future. What would your future be like? Growth mindset. So I hope you learned something useful today. See ya! Hey, I hope you learned something useful today and truly appreciate that you took time off to better your life with the financial coconut. Knowledge is that much more powerful and interesting when shared, debated, and discussed. I hope you would share what you've gained with people you love, and I want to hear from you. Give me some questions and help me along with building our community of financially savvy coconuts. And together we can fulfill our curious minds and our desire for clarity. Join our community Telegram group, reach out to us on Facebook. Everything is in the description below. And if you enjoy the podcast and feel you want to keep us growing and stay independent, do buy us Kofi at Kofi.com. With that, have a great day ahead, stay tuned next week, and always remember, personal finance can be chill, clear, and sustainable for all. I know, usually we end at where we end. But for all of you that are still around, we're going to be a little marvel today. For all of you that are still around, we decided that we will share with you what is coming up next every episode going forward. Right? We want to be a little bit more planned, more structured, so that it helps you with learning and allows you to anticipate what is going to come next week. So a few things I want to share with you is, one thing is we're going to spin off a new podcast called Dividend Colada, which is a investing podcast that's focused on dividend investing. I'll elaborate that slightly later. We're still in the ideation stage, but we are quite certain, right? Dividend colada, like pina colada, like from coconut, right? Yes. So dividend colada, it will come very soon. Stay tuned. But for next week's episode on TFC, on the financial coconut, we will be focusing on 3 fake news that is being shared with you from fake gurus. I know there are a lot of fake gurus. Okay, maybe they're not all fake, but there's just a lot of information out there that people are trying to sell you and share with you, a lot of different mindsets and strategies. And a lot of times it gets very noisy, very irritating. So we're just going to spend some time to talk about 3 different things that I think are very, very, for like a better way to put it, fake news. So stay tuned next week. See ya.